Okay, hello class. Here's another video for chapter 1.5. This is transformation. Okay, there are a few things that you just have to, I'll say memorize. Number one will be, f of x squared. You just gotta know this. Now, again, if you have no idea, I will just use XY table just to come up with the quick sketch. Now, from this point, you have a few things that you have to understand. Number one, something is called vertical shift. And we have something is called horizontal shift. Oops. Now, vertical shift, let me give you one quick example. First of all, before we go on, by the way, this is called quadratic functions, okay? Now, vertical shift, simply, let me give you two different forms. X squared plus 3, obviously this is becomes the vertical shift. And there's another format, y equals 2. This becomes the vertical shift, okay? So there are two forms or two ways to write, well, not really two ways, there are multiple ways, but two common forms that we'd be able to recognize vertical shift are these two. Now, how do I graph the first one? As you can see, using x squared, which is right here, all you have to do is bring everyone by 3 units. So here, 1, 2, and 3, and voila, right? So I'll explain this one using horizontal shift. Okay, now we know that this is horizontal shift. Now let's talk about the, I'm sorry, now that we just discussed the vertical shift, we're gonna talk about horizontal shift. Now, horizontal shift doesn't exist when we have this form, but when you have square, completing square form, we do have horizontal shift. And just show you algebraically, I'm gonna write it here again, x minus 4. Here, you set x minus 4 equals to 0, and this becomes the horizontal shift. So in other words, all we have to do is you're gonna, from the origin, as you can see, we're gonna bring the entire graph by 4 units to the right because of positive 4, and then we're gonna apply vertical shift by 1 unit. And we know that because this is positive, we're gonna have that smiley face. Let me give you another quick example. Y equals to negative x plus 2 squared minus 3. Okay, so now we recognize that this is square form, completing square form. So we're going to apply x plus 2, meaning this is going to be minus 2. So from 0, we go to the left 2 units, and obviously we're going to apply the vertical by 3 units right here. Now, because of the negative right in front of the parentheses, we're going to apply sad face, which is we call it downward, okay? And here's my sketch, okay? Hold on a second. Let me just change the, change paper here. Okay, now let's continue. Let's see, let me give you this guy. Y equals radical. Let's talk about radical function here. Radical function, again, if you don't know, I will use XY table. Now, just play smart here. 0, 1, 2. I'm not too big fan of 2 because you're probably going to get radical 2. But 4, you're going to get 2. 9, you're going to get 3. Because of the characteristic or the equation that we have here, again, if you have a calculator, that will be great, but it will be very difficult to plot. So therefore, we use some, whole numbers, okay? All right, so 0, 0, 1, 1, for 2, as you could see, we have this graph. Now, what if, then my question is, let's graph y equals to plus 3. As you could see, that plus 3 is outside of the radical. Now, if you remember this, it looks something like this situation, right? So therefore, we know that this must be vertical shift. So then that becomes a whole lot easier. From this graph, all we have to do, every point on the line, we have to bring up by 3 units. Wow. Okay. Now let me give you another one, which will be graph y equals x minus 2. Let's say plus 1. So we know this is vertical. Now, what do you think this will be then? That is the horizontal shift, right? Again, the same setup, x minus 2, 0, x equals to 2. So the entire graph, now you're gonna bring it to the right 2 units and bring it up by 1 unit, and voila. Okay, let me know if you have any questions.